The Renewed Hope agenda is 2 years old officially today, and of course we're trying to unpack the issues, the challenges, the much talked about reforms and the way forward, the impact on the lives and the livelihood of Nigerians. Joining me for this segment are two prominent political figures. Dr. Yunusa Tanko is of course a prominent figure within the Labour Party circles, but also a political and public affairs commentator. He'll be joining the panel alongside the APC's Director of Publicity. Bala Ibrahim is joining us this morning. Gentlemen, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I appreciate you for stopping by.
Thank you
Thank you very much, Abdullahi.
Right, so let me leave the APC man to put us in a good mood, because I believe they're the ones who have the positive outlook about these past 2 years. But what, in your view, is the best way for Nigerians to assess the administration's journey so far? Last week you had that national summit, and some people were less than impressed by what happened. But what is your view about the right perspective to have on a day like this?
Well, Alhamdulillah, in anything one does, one should be thankful and grateful to God for the gift of life, health, and other things. In Nigeria today, the challenge almost everyone is talking about is the challenge of wealth. Even where there is health, people complain of no wealth, and therefore there is a lot of inconvenience. The administration of Bala Ahmed Tinubu and the administration of the APC is very much aware of this. As a matter of fact, the president did not go into the race without taking into cognizance these challenges and the kind of uproar that will follow after he must have taken over. He knows about it, he says it, and he's doing everything within his powers as a human being to see to it that he delivers on his promise. And the party, APC, is doing everything to formulate ways by which these goodies can be implemented and made to reach the people. For now, halfway into the term of President Bala Ahmed Tinubu, a lot has been achieved, but a lot more is expected. Now, if we are to go through and itemize some of the things that we should be celebrating, a program of 30 minutes will not do justice to the issue. But the midterm summit that was done was an opportunity to do an in-house review, to do a clinic on the challenges and see how to bring out programs that will address them. Some of these things have to do with security. If we are to look at security today in Nigeria, vis-a-vis security in Nigeria yesterday, we will agree that yes, there is a very, very massive improvement. Not yet Uhuru, but certainly we can now go to bed with our eyes closed. Time was when bombs were blowing up everywhere in the cities. Now we don't have that. Yes, there are kidnappings, there are challenges of attacks here and there. A new insurgent group has emerged in the name of Lakurawa or what have you. But the military, the government, have combined to devise ways of attending to this. And as we talk, the military is in the bush. They are operating in areas where these challenges are high, and the records or results that are coming are impressive.
Right. Yeah. Just to bring in Malam Tanko into the conversation, because we obviously want to, put the conversation side by side, right? Dr. Tanko, let's get your view about this one.
Okay.
What is a fair assessment of an administration that has spent just 2 years in office, considering the challenges, the assets, the liabilities that they've inherited on May 29, 2023?
Okay, permit me to read from the APC manifesto. The manifesto is a document in which you sell out to people who are to be the electorate, who are to elect you. And then in page 4 of that document, it says that APC is going to make sure that you have 3 million new jobs, you're going to have healthcare, you're going to have guarantee-free education. Guarantee-free education. Urban renewal, housing, tracking poverty, removing it and keeping Nigeria safe, and all others. It says in their recovery that they are going to build modern infrastructures, create value economy, restoring good governance, ending a reliance on oil and gas, ending agriculture, land, and green revolution. Reforms guarantee human rights and justice. And I'm very, very keen in that particular aspect. Foreign affairs and protecting Nigeria. So these are some of the things. This is a document of the APC, and it's a manifesto that the president, who of course will swear to say this is what I'm going to work on. And unfortunately, this is not the situation at the moment. Let us look at the issue of economy. Inflation is about 34%. Increasing, that's at 2024. Now, you look at the normal things, the normal day lives request of Nigerians, which is food. Not too far. Rice, tomato, peppers, and the rest of them. A 50 per kg costs you nothing less than about 50, 70,000 naira. We are close to Salah. Now, the normal thing is that people want to be happy in their homes and all. A ram of a medium cost of a ram at the moment now costs you about 300,000 naira. And you are earning a salary of just probably less than maybe 100,000 naira on an average level. How do you make ends meet? These are the indices that connect you with the people. You swore to protect the life and properties of Nigerians. As of a few days ago, Nigerians have been killed in Taraba. They have been shot into the grave like a back of loads of gari and all of that. So in terms of security, it has really now metamorphosed into an uncertainty of high gravity. Even though the bombing that we used to see now, the fact is that it is reoccurring now and it's affecting everybody. You talk about free education. The everyday lives of Nigerians is a nightmare when it comes to the issue of education. Because every January you'll be thinking, how do I pay the school fees of my children? Private schools, some here in Abuja in particular, there are people paying millions of nairas. And majority of people who are reading us today were people who went to free schools. Free schools, and then, but the free education is not really on the graph. So the basic indices that affects you and I are completely eroded. You know the main painful act of it? It is done with a level of disdain. They hold the Nigerian people, what can you do about it? You can't do anything.
Is that your impression?
No, it is very clear. Because if not, how can you, when the National Assembly was supposed to bury one of their own, I'm talking about Pa Edwin Clark, the Senate President was discussing about my own principal, Peter Obi. Is that not completely eroding and is insulting the Nigerian? The man is right before you. You're supposed to be talking about him, but you talk about something else. And instead of us to be thinking about the lives and properties of Nigerians, both Senate and member of the House of Representatives are discussing about how to bring intake of, what do you call it, the defectees. Those are not the issues. You see, when you affect the life of a person, you don't need a rocket science. It's something that is visible. The people that you're affecting their life will be the first person that will speak, and they will tell you that this is what is happening. The cost of petroleum is increasing. Sometimes it will decrease as a way of what will I call it now? Deceit to the Nigerian people. Then before you know it, it increased. These are the things that affect everyday life of every Nigerian. And then you talk about issue of tariff, power. If not that maybe it's raining now, maybe there will be a little bit of increase in it. But it is defective and you increase the prices. These are basic things that Nigerians need and you are not providing them. In 2 years, now you are celebrating your success. Figures don't lie. Right. But at the end of it all, you are already campaigning into it. That means that you know you did not perform very well.
Right. Bala, just a reaction to what Dr. Tanko says regarding the outlook. I mean, some would say it's a glass half full, glass half empty type of conversation. On one hand, you can point out some of the progresses. On the other hand, you can also point out some of the things that have gotten out of hand. Do you think it's unfair for Nigerians to say 2 years down the line there's really no cause for celebration in terms of the deliverables?
Okay. It all depends on how people look at things. Like you said, there are always two sides to a coin. There is an argument between whether to say the glass is half full or half empty. Some Nigerians may see cause to celebrate in a midterm assessment. Some may not see any reason to celebrate. But if we are to go by what my brother, Dr. Tanko, was saying, he has reasons to raise those concerns. He has reasons to talk about employment or unemployment level. He has reasons to talk about security or insecurity. He has reasons to talk about industrialization or the reverse. He also has reasons to talk about whether we're moving forward or moving backward. But to us, as a party, we have a policy, some of which he read. Our intention is to see to it that we move from point A to point B in a way and manner that pleases and make Nigerians benefit more. And that is exactly what we are doing. How we are doing it is where the argument comes. He who is making omelette is confronted by the challenge of having to break eggs. We are making omelette, and necessarily we believe we have to break eggs. And when these eggs are broken, the owner of the eggs will not like it. The chicken will not like it. But when we come to sit on the table and begin to eat the omelette, we appreciate and forget about the sacrifice that was made by the chicken and the effort that was put in place by the chef to make the omelette. President Bala Ahmed Tinubu is in that situation today. He has the problem of having to appease or please Nigerians. In a Nigeria that is of almost 300 million population, you are expecting...
we still don't have the census today because the APC has failed to do it after spending over 200 billion.
Okay. The APC, for correction, does not conduct census. Probably the government...
the APC administration, I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
The APC administration has not done census. Probably there are reasons for that. When you are conducting census, you take the cost into consideration. And it's not just Nigeria. I'm saying that we've already spent over 200 billion under Muhammadu Buhari only for the Tinubu administration to put the process on hold after coming into power. That's the point I was making. That's why we don't know whether we are 240 million or 300 million plus. Okay, let's go into that. The last time the UK had census was 2023.
Yeah, but why are we talking about the UK, Madam Bala? We're in Nigeria.
We were colonized by the United Kingdom, and it's the idol we look up to. And everything we do, we try to look at them as the role model. Nigeria gained independence from United Kingdom in 1960. As of 1960, the population of the United Kingdom was 52 million. Nigeria's population as of 1960 was 45 million. So the UK was more in population than Nigeria. Today, the United Kingdom has a population of 68 million. Nigeria has a population of about 300 million, almost 7 times that. The UK is never too eager to run into repeated census. These are some of the problems we have in this country.
Yeah, but the data you just referenced was gotten from 2021. That was the last time they conducted their census.
And I told you, UK had the last one, 2023. And UK was our grandfather.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But we haven't had our census. I mean, we've gone way past the international threshold of conducting a census.
There isn't any international rule that you must have census every week.
I'm saying that there is a threshold. Even in Nigeria today, the Census Act, we have a specified number of years that we're supposed to conduct census regularly. Which allows us to build on developmental issues. I can't believe we're still debating that.
In demography, there is a margin you always give in order for you to arrive at an estimate. It's not the number of times you do the counting that matters, but whether or not you use that margin appropriately and you get you use census for expectations, for planning. Therefore, what I'm trying to tell you in this is that we are looking at economic growth without taken a look at the corresponding population growth, and that is why we always get it wrong. When you are expecting someone to do magic with limited resources, your population is multiplying by a factor that cannot even be factored. You are expecting that to work. It will never work. Nigeria cannot get it right as long as we are having this population explosion, right? Which is not done elsewhere. I was trying to tell you that while the United Kingdom that gave us independence has not increased its population by 20 million in 60 years, we have increased ours by countless figure in 60 years. And we want to get it right.
You think that's an apples to apples comparison? I mean, look at their land size. We could have 4 to 5 UKs in Nigeria's landmass, right? But if we were talking about population, where do you fit in the conversation around the likes of China or India, for instance, whose populations, quadruple ours?
Okay, let me take you to China. My children completely are in China. I invest 50% of my life in China. And I keep making reference to the UK because I school there and I school in Nigeria. I work there and I work in Nigeria. So I have the opportunity to make comparison. As I said, all my children are living in China today. China did not get to where it is today if not for the pause it put on population explosion. The first time I went to China in the 90s, everybody was riding bicycle. Everybody. If you get to the traffic light and you see the bees of bicycles, you will think all the bicycles that are manufactured in the world were being used in China. Today you go to China, people are flying in private jets. People are moving in the most expensive, all the beautiful cars you think in the world are in China. Why? Because they put a pause on population. If you don't control population, there is no way you can have comfort. There is no way you can have economic grace. It's not going to work. So the China you mentioned had gotten to where it is because they put a pause on population. And we have to do the same in Nigeria if we want to enjoy the dividend of democracy, if we want to see economic gains in our lives. But you have a 60 trillion or so budget for 300 million people. Where will that work? It's not possible. It will not.
It's a fact that we still don't know the exact number.
We don't know, but we have an estimated figure. We have a figure with which we can make an estimate. Even the other advanced countries may not have an exact figure, but they always talk in the region of billion plus. India, China, they talk like that. But ours, we are talking in multiples of millions. It's not the land mass. Nigeria is bigger in mass, land mass than Nigeria, but their population is less than ours. And their per capita, their income, their GDP, their GNP are all less than ours. We just need to do certain things to make us understand that for us to win, we have to work. And for us to win well, we must work well.
Okay. Dr. Yunusa, your reaction to this one? Is that an
I
explanation or an excuse?
definitely will have a different opinion as regard to it. We are borrowing about $2.25 billion. And we have already had about 187 trillion naira. 96% of that particular money has been used in paying debts and all of that. Now, for me, population, yes, you can control it, but it's a gift of nature. If you manage it very well, it becomes your source of income. What we don't do, which we continue to do as failures in leadership, is not thinking deep outside the box. We only think inside the box, we don't think around and every one of it. So the population we have, we ought to have turned it around into our source of wealth. We only borrow to spend for our personal interests, not investing. That is why His Excellency Peter Obi was talking about consumption to production. Okay, as a businessman, let's even take Nigeria as an entity, as a businessman. You go borrowing. Do you borrow to spend on your friends and family and cronies? No, you spend to improve on what you have, to invest in it so that you can get dividends. If, for example, the northern part of Nigeria, which Peter Obi has continuously on every mentioning, let's borrow money, let's invest in agriculture, which is the major source of income in the population in the north. And we have human capital. The people in the north are large in number and they can tilt their land and make money out of it. He gave a comparison of Netherlands. Netherlands is just like not up to Niger State. Not up to Niger State. And Netherlands produces 3 times what we gain as oil. In just Nigeria here, what they produce is 4 times than what we produce and what we gain. So if Niger State alone can be a catalyst in terms of agriculture, producing enormous food items, gari, yams, and all of that we need, only one. What about the other 18 states in Nigeria? So you see, for me, the population we have in Nigeria is not a burden. It is not that it is not being pushed into judicious use. Given an example of Bangladesh, do you know that in Bangladesh they even draw water from outside of the country just to produce bags of rice and all? So it is the purposefulness of your leaders. How do you apply what you have? Again, I will say it today and not anytime. Every local government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has a domicile way of survival. Check it. Just you, all of 3 of us, go back to your local government and think, how did our people in that local government survive? But we are not investing in what they are doing. We completely ignore them and neglect them. So they themselves, if we have invest in what they do, they will have been able to take care of their own needs within their domicile environment. That way, the burden in the national will have reduced. 774 local government producing at the same time, making input, contributing to the nation. Everybody is being put to work. You cannot imagine the kind of income that will be generated within that particular local government. So these are the ways in which you can subject people into subsistence farming, just like they're using holes and all. Go to this China that my brother has his own children and everybody living in. Honestly, go to where they are producing. You'll be amazed in the kind of a system they put in. I agree, and I find it very interesting. Yes, we can shut down, but if we shut down and start re-engineering ourselves, every one of those are produced. In the back of my house, just my house here, one day we decided that this year we're going to start producing on our own. So we went into farming or producing corns and all. It was amazing what we produced. So imagine if everybody does that.
Right.
These are the system in which, so stop the borrowing, think inwards. Empower the people, let them be self-reliant. Get them things that they need, not the things that you need. Not expending and spending for yourself and your family. That is treasonable offense against the Nigerian people. And that's what we are witnessing at the moment now.
The president in his statement says, quote, "Our journey is not over, but our direction is clear. The future is bright, and together we will build a stronger, more inclusive Nigeria that we can all be proud of." Do you believe...
He's driving us to a grave. Negatively.
You don't believe our future is bright?
Not at all. You see, look, you have a president that you thought would have been forward-thinking in terms of get the best hands around you. There are plenty of them. Many of our people are outside the country, and every day, they keep on giving you ideas. Get them.
You don't think he has the best team?
No, he doesn't. Even he is not thinking in the right way, with all due respect, sir. I mean, we were all here. I'm not praising anybody. Goodluck Jonathan was a president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Murtala Mohammed only spent 6 months. Only 6 months. We're still talking about his legacy. It's not rocket science. We knew we had problems even before the Buhari era. Buhari came and gave us Pro Max 1, and he's giving us Pro Max 10 in terms of poverty. We don't need that. What we needed would have been a reverse case of the situation that we met before the Buhari era and change the dynamics. We cannot even get back to Jonathan era. We cannot. It's practically impossible. But we could have gotten something there. What Nigerians would have loved to see was a reduction in terms of expenditures, in incomes of what we are making as a staple food that we eat in Nigeria, the terms of infrastructure, in terms of education. Look, up till now, we're still talking about how to take care of ASU's money. We're not thinking straight. Right. And the thing is this is not about blaming or no. We're only seeing all of these things because it hurts us that we have the capacity, we have the know-how to change the dynamics of this country, but we are not doing it. A Bala Ahmed Tinubu, forgive me for mentioning name for today, can have the best of team and capacity. Nigeria, you see, governing Nigeria is so easy because a lot of decay already is in the system. Pick one of them. Today, I may just have to mention. Look at Nelson Wike. Even though I have issues with some of the way he does his thing, we had an FCT minister in this FCT for 8 good years. It was as if there was nothing to do. Just between the same period of time, Nelson Wike came in as FCT minister. All those dead bridges are alive. That is thinking. Creative thinking. Yes, he may be doing it, he may overbloat it as a budget and all of that. A lot of stealing spray is going on. But those projects are back alive. That is thinking. So the decay in the system has been established for a very long time. They are there. They are glaring for you to see. Right. Pick 1 or 2 or 3 of them. Even if it was power alone, it could have had retrospective effect on every businesses in Nigeria. It would have reduced the cost of income. Right. But as it is now, believe me, Mr. President is driving us to dungeon.
Okay. Bala, your reaction to this one. I mean, clearly on this day, the APC, the Ministry of Information, has gone to great lengths to advertise the success stories so far. 300,000 beneficiaries of the student loan scheme, over $10 billion in forex debt cleared, 440 ongoing road projects, including 2,700 kilometers of superhighways, 3.84 GDP growth in fourth quarter of last year, the highest in 3 years, the 70,000 naira minimum wage that was signed, over 13,500 terrorists eliminated. The list goes on and on and on. Why do you think people like Dr. Yunusa Tanko are not impressed by all of these success stories?
Simple. The meaning of faith. Faith is absolute belief, either in someone or in a doctrine. It can be a document, it can be a religion. Faith. Dr. Yunusa Tanko belongs to the Labour Party extraction. They have a document, they have a policy, they have a manifesto which he believed in. President Bala Ahmed Tinubu and I belong to the APC, which is the party in power. We have a doctrine, we have a policy, we have our own programs which you execute. The president had said, time without number, that he wants people to believe in him, to have faith, to have confidence that he means well for the country and he means well for the people. When people like Dr. Yunusa Tanko disagree and they don't believe him, they have that legitimate right to do so because they have their own doctrine to believe in. They have their own people they want to believe in. Why must they believe in other people?
Do you think his criticism is fueled by politics?
Of course he's talking politics. It's purely politics. He hasn't got anything against the president in person.
There is no facts to what they're saying?
There may be facts, but these facts may be looked at from the angle of whether the cup is half full or half empty. It's perspective. Everyone looks at things from his own perspective. How he views it is his own issue. The Hausa man will say, "Ra'ayi riga, kowa da irin tasa." Everyone wears what he wants. He is wearing a black gown. I am wearing a white one. That's my choice. That's his choice. So he's saying what he's saying, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu or the APC is not going to take Nigeria to the El Dorado. And I'm saying the reverse. We are determined to take Nigeria to the El Dorado by virtue of our constitution, our manifesto, and our program. And we are going to do that by the grace of God.
But he's saying that you're missing the mark on every point in your manifesto.
Who sets the mark? He didn't set the mark. We set the mark.
Yeah, but what are the 3 million jobs, for instance?
These are things that cannot be itemized in a program of 30 minutes like this one.
I'm just saying, like, if you can point us to the direction so that we don't have to ask these questions repeatedly.
Oh, you mean where the employments were made?
Yeah, I mean, just to say, okay, these are the jobs in the agriculture sector, in this particular sector. These are where you can find these numbers.
That is what I'm telling you. If we take the economy, employments have been made starting from the central bank to the federal inland revenue to other ancillary services. I cannot give you the details, the names, the number, and the places they have. But these things have been published, and you as a journalist, you have the power, you have the right, you have the wherewithal to do investigative journalism and check to see whether these things that were published by the Ministry of Information are true or false, and you come back and inform the public.
I mean, there is nothing about jobs here,
of course, in an advertorial of one page, you cannot be able to put 1 million
I mean, I'm saying that if, for instance, over the past 2 years, the Tinubu administration can boast of 3 million jobs each year, this is a big selling point, isn't it? It's not something that is going to be hidden.
I told you Nigeria's population is almost 300 million. And if you take out or put in 1 million or 3 million out of 300 million, it's an insignificant figure as to make impact, to be seen directly. You see, when we conjure questions, we sometimes do it generically, thinking that when we put these things in theory, they necessarily have to look so in practice. If I tell you in this building today, we have 1,000 people in employment, you may not see it practically because I came in contact with just about 4 people. You may not see them. But believe you me, statistics don't tell lies. The figures are there. All you need to do is to challenge this advert by the Ministry of Information, check and come up in another program and say, look, we have sacked all over, all the ministries, parastatal departments and agencies. We haven't seen anywhere where this quantum of people were employed. We challenge the government to provide us figures in an advert of this form. I believe you that thing will be responded to. For now, as a party spokesperson, I am not in a position to give you that data because I need to make contact with all the relevant districts. But I believe the government has not come to power to lie. And should the government list these things and say they are achievements, believe you me, they have been achieved. And anybody who is in doubt...
the administration is ticking all the boxes as contained in the manifesto? Because the president also did say, if I don't give you power, do not re-elect me. And it's safe to say that today we cannot we cannot debate the instability in the power sector. It's quite obvious.
You see, every time people talk about this, I remember the saying of my late mother-in-law. In Hausa, she said, when you are in comfort or you begin to feel the luxury of availability, you feel like committing suicide. If we are to juxtapose our situation today with regards power and the situation we were before the coming of this government, believe you me, even the most critical of the critic will admit, yes, there is improvement. I am not saying there is absolute availability of power 24/7, no. But believe you me, from the erratic power supply we had in the past and what we have today, there is a quantum leap. We have moved forward. Whether we have gotten to where we want to go is a debate for another day. But really there is improvement in power. And this improvement is being felt left, right, and center. The satisfaction is subject to individuals' interpretation.
Right. And Dr. Tanko, you look at what has happened over last week, right, over the course of last week, and the series of endorsement that the president seems to be enjoying right now. And the defections also are quite telling that the APC is gaining a lot of ground. If it was listed in the stock exchange, it would probably be one of the, most profitable stocks to buy right now.
With fixed statistics.
Okay. But the numbers are quite telling, right? Defections on a weekly basis. And it does look like, on face value, the president is popular within the political elite. Is that suggestive of, the disconnect between what people like you are saying and how everyone else thinks of the performance of the president?
If I was the president, I should be worried. Because the moment you see that the people are not talking, take every one of those particular elites and go back to their home and do statistics. I can tell you, most of them, when they go back home, they will only come back with bulala. I'm telling you, just go back and do the statistics. When you go back home to those particular, they will not survive it. So, but let's keep it out, because if we talk about it, that we're giving them an expo or kind of idea on how to get out of it. But let them continue to enjoy the imaginative ride of probably they are popular. But when you go back home, they are not popular. And Mr. President should be worried, because all of this one that they did to him is all what we call pancake and padding. Just like we have padded budgets and all of that. But let me also mention this issue of power. 4 times in the history of Nigeria, the national grid broke down. 4 times. Not in the history of Nigeria, 4 times. And to be objective, and for people who know some of our antecedents will tell you, I just spoke about Nelson Wiki. Not that I like him as a person. I don't have anything against him, but I just spoke about him. If he had not done what he's doing, we will not say it. So you see, work does not lie. I had a principal who is the former governor of Anambra State. Every of his work, every of what he put in place were practical. I'm talking about providing transformers to provide light for his people, making good roads, connecting all the local government. They were there. Talking about leaving money into the coffers, telling people that when you get security vote, it's not for your personal interest, it's for the interest of the people. Use it for the interest of people. These are facts. Providing industry with roads and network, and these are things that he did. And those are the things that's winning his heart. Moving around the northern part of the country, getting closer to Nigerian people. So you see, work does not lie. If this particular government have been able to do what ABC did, you don't need anybody to. You don't even need an advertorial. You are just playing your bypass by yourself. You don't need it. It is the people that will come and tell you that you have done so well. You don't need. You just sit down in your house. And I can give you a clear example, just like as mentioned of that of Peter Obi. Olusegun Mimiko did the same thing in Ondo State. It was almost like branding the whole state. There are practical things you can do. In Kano, Kwankwaso did. But here, you have somebody like in Peter Obi who's saying that, look, let's change this narrative. What we are doing, we are not doing it rightly. Let's increase the number of production. Let's move Nigerians out of poverty. Let's look at health. Because even in the manifesto of the APC, it's talking about health. People are dying on a daily basis because they cannot get common malaria drugs.
Yeah, but there's also this criticism that has come your way, the people on your side of the aisle.
Yes.
Your principal, for instance, has
Yes.
been accused of demarketing Nigeria, or giving Nigeria a bad image, saying that if he hopes to fix the problem by becoming president, he's surely not going to do it by making the rest of the world think less of Nigeria, but more importantly, making Nigerians hate their own country. Do you think that your rhetoric, your commentary is also not helping matters?
I'm just telling you some of the ills in the society right now. It doesn't make me a bad person. If you are a smart leader, whatever somebody say, counter him with your own facts and figures. Deny him with the fact and figure of what he's saying, whether it's right or wrong. You cannot be having fever and you continue taking Panadol. It will not solve the problem. And in fact, as a leader, in the work of the opposition, which Peter Obi has been exceedingly did fantastically well to ensure that he puts the government on their toe on a daily basis. Since 2023 general election, he has always, there are areas in which, of course, he will praise the government in certain things that they've done, and then he keep on bringing out. What you should do as a president is that the moment they give you free consultancy, take it and find solution to it, and then you counter it, then you see that probably your advisors will just be quiet. You see, in politics, the idea is that for you to bring out the ill in society, you as person in government, you continue to improve on it. At the end of it all, the people that will benefit are the people. So there is nothing about the marketing. In fact, he should be given a pat in the back for being able to bring us statistically the needs that were not being, the gaps that are there. That is why you are a researcher. When you go to school, you become a professor, you are a researcher. You don't go to do a research and say this thing is dandy and sweet. No. You bring out a statement of program and on a null hypothesis to say this thing is wrong, there's a gap in it. So what you're expecting is that probably a company that may want to use it or a company that want to use it, now you fill in the gap and make the correction. At the end of it, the people enjoy it. What we are enjoying now, I'm talking to you on a tube, on television and all. It wasn't used to be this like plasma television before. It wasn't. It was just like a wooden box and all. People do research to improve on it, and they criticize what was done at that time. Even this one now may be criticized to improve on it. So when you see a Peter Obi making statement, confirmed statement with statistical figure, giving it what ought to have been done, is a free consultancy for the government to take advantage of and improve. If you have a contrary view about what he's saying, bring it out. When you say about the man is bringing up statistics, the statistics are there. If you have a contrary statistic to that, bring your own.
Right. A lot of people have accused the administration of being politically intolerant, that it does not appreciate dissenting voices, it does not also appreciate the kind of criticism. I think the president also alluded to that this past week when he hosted the NNPCL new leadership, when he said he doesn't listen to the news anymore because the criticism is just everywhere and too much. But how do you juxtapose that as against the backdrop of the fact that the administration has now gone into campaign mode, that with 2 years still left, with what has happened last week at your national summit and all the defections that we're seeing right now, that the administration is hyper-focused on winning the next election, even before it completes its first 4-year tenure. And that distraction is going to tell on the governance aspect of it.
Well, I'm here to speak for the party. I am not empowered to speak for the governance of the country. But we can look at them within the realms or the statements of the president who is in charge of the country. Even as he speaks today on the midterm, he has solicited for additional resilience from Nigerians. When you say the government is not tolerant of opposition or it does not take criticisms the way it should be, I don't think there has been any administration in the history of Nigeria that has been more tolerant of the opposition than this government. Just now my brother was talking about the Minister of FCT, Yunusa Tanko, the fantastic job he's doing, all the kudos and the praises he showered on him. It may interest him to know, I believe he knows, but it's worth mentioning again that Wike belongs to the opposition. No administration has taken a sensitive and strategic ministry like the Ministry of the FCT and given it to the opposition, but this administration, which is a show
for the APC.
What proof have you?
I mean, he said it.
He who said it?
Wike said it on national television.
Wike is a lawyer. He cannot be so anti-party. He cannot.
He literally said he's going to work for the president in 2027.
Working for the president. You see,
working for his re-election.
Wait a minute. Once there is an election, politicking is supposed to stop. You have a president, and the president is for the entire country. You have to lay allegiance to him, regardless of your party bearing. Wike is a citizen of Nigeria. President Bala Ahmed Tinubu is the president of Nigeria. Every Nigerian is supposed to show allegiance to the president of the country. That is patriotism. So if Wike said he's going to work for the president, he is being patriotic. But he didn't say he's going to work for the APC, which is against his own party.
Wasn't that what he did already in 2023?
You don't have proof. I don't want us to be...
Are we really debating who we can work for in 2023?
We have a duty to be fair and to tell the truth. In journalism, we must not come on air.
Is that not conclusive? That
it's not.
How did he get into the government then?
I wouldn't know. I was not part and parcel of the team that selected him. Right. You have to ask the appointee and those who appoint the appointee how he got the appointment.
Yeah, but the main question in the comfort of the is that the administration is in campaign mode already, and the campaigns are not even, officially have not started, and that is taking the attention of the president away from delivering on the promises to just focusing on winning the next election, which is still some 2 years away, give or take, right? And that is the question. Is that something that the APC is encouraging because of what we've seen over the past few months?
The party is in a campaign mode is your own perspective of understanding what is happening. That is not my own perspective. That may not be another person's perspective. The party is a political party. As a political party, you have the right constitutionally to review your performance at any time T. There is a difference between midterm clinic and campaign. Campaign is when you come out, posters go on air and you are canvassing for vote.
The posters of the president are everywhere.
I haven't seen one here.
You've not seen it in
I haven't seen one here. If you say they're everywhere.
Obviously, you can't see any campaign posters here.
But
it's a media organization.
Then we draw everywhere. Yeah, it means it's in some places.
Okay, across the different highways in the federal capital.
From my house in Guzape to this place, I crossed the highway. I have not seen a single poster of the president.
But have you seen any?
I haven't.
Any at all in Abuja?
I have heard from people who don't dig deep to say that this thing, so much so that the president had to come out at one time and disown that. You see, in politics or in democracy, people have the right to express their opinion. If someone comes out and put my poster outside and said I should come, I'm campaigning for this. So there was
nothing wrong with the endorsements, the unilateral endorsement from the north, south, western part of this country on the clinic that you said was the national summit last week. You think that it was right? I mean, I think he's, if I'm not mistaken, the only president who got that kind of endorsement 2 years into a first term.
Endorsement is a word of choice that you prefer.
No, they actually said it.
Very good. I may prefer to use vote of confidence. All right?
But they said endorsement.
Yeah, I say it's a choice. Vote of
there's a difference between vote of confidence
there is no difference.
and an endorsement.
There is no difference.
Endorsement guarantees political support in an election.
Endorsement simply means support of what you are doing. Vote of confidence simply means support in what you are doing. Go and check the dictionary. What I'm telling you, there is nothing wrong legally in people sitting down to review their performance. If in a class there is an examination that is supposed to hold in June, and the class teacher decides to assemble his students and conduct a test, no one should tell him that he is conducting that final examination. Okay. A test is a test. A midterm assessment and vote of confidence passed on the party and the leadership of the country are all endorsements. Okay. And nobody says you cannot endorse that which is doing well.
Fine. Let's give Dr. Tanko the last say here. What is your message to Nigerians in terms of how they should unpack what they've been hearing, what they've been listening? Because sometimes you get a feeling that Nigerians really don't know how to feel about some of these things. I mean, they understand their individual experiences on a day-to-day basis. However, understanding the bigger picture has become somewhat elusive. What do you think should be the biggest takeaways for Nigerians in the grand scheme of the conversation around the stewardship of Bala Ahmed Tinubu over the past 2 years?
They've been able to analyze this as it affects their homes directly. They should look at their kitchen and look at their children. What was their status some couple of years ago before this particular government took over? What was their status in the past government? So when they do that SWOT analysis within their own family home, they should be able to do a depth study and agree whether this particular government has affected their life positively or negatively.
Okay.
And once they do that, the power lies in their own vote. I will advise strongly to them. They should not feel intimidated. Neither they should be scared. Not that they should be cowed, because they have the same right as the person that is in the position of power today. So it is that particular card, the voter's card that they have in their hands, that could help them to change that particular depth study that they did in their kitchen and looking at their lives and their children. They should eliminate the issue of religion in their mind. They should eliminate the issue of tribe. They should eliminate the issue of regional inclination, or this is my brother or not, because that your brother have not been able to affect your life positively using these particular indices of your kitchen and your children, which are the most precious thing to you in your life. So I advise that you should take a decision that will advance the course of their lives and the future of their generation, and it's clear for all of them to see.
Dr. Tanko, Malam Bala Ibrahim, thank you so much for a spirited conversation. I appreciate you very much for stopping by this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.